Hey guys, and how about we talk Death Note? I'm Grestar, and this is a pretty good anime if I do say so myself, and I am allowed to because I had no part in the creative process. Now of course this video will contain spoilers, but I'll try to warn you guys ahead of time so you have the option to stop listening or click off to another video or whatnot, but this is just me expressing my opinions on the anime Death Note. I'm obviously not going to cover everything, just things that jumped out to me right now. Anyway, for those of you who don't know what Death Note is, aside from an anime, because I already told you that bit, it's basically about this genius high school boy finds a supernatural notebook on the ground outside his school, and it turns out to be a death note, like the notebook that the gods of death would write in, or the angels of death, you know, one of those, shinigami, in order to kill people. And so he finds out that all he has to do to kill someone basically is write their name on the pages of that notebook. Basically he decides to start casting his own judgment upon the world, you know, basically playing the role of God, and I think it's pretty cool. And I don't consider that a spoiler because you learned that within the first episode. So if you don't, what else could you say to get anyone interested in the anime? You can't, so don't complain about that one. Now, I was curious what exactly to tell you guys as far as the tags went so you could know what kind of genre it really is. So I looked up Analinks, and according to Analinks, it is a drama, fantasy, horror, mystery, police, psychological, shonen, supernatural thriller. So there you go. Basically, what I really liked about it was that the main character, the high schooler, his name is Light Yagami, and he was just brilliant. I loved watching him in his brilliance, watching him figure out, okay, because here's the thing, and this is where it starts to get a little spoilery, just a little bit. So if you don't want any spoilers at all and you're already interested in watching this anime, go ahead, click off this video, go watch it, give it a chance. You know, it was a good one. Especially, in my opinion, the first season, particularly up to episode 17, just in case you were curious. I thought that the first half of this show was really good. The first season I thought was really, really good. Especially, I mean, if you listen to my past Q&As, I've mentioned Death Note a couple times. I believe I said it was my favorite anime based upon that fact. The first time I watched this, I watched it up to episode, I think 18 or 19, and then I stopped because I'm like, okay, it can't get better than this. And I, after watching the whole thing through again, you know, from start to finish, I agree with myself, it didn't get better. It did get worse, but it was still good. I thoroughly enjoyed the first season for sure. Thought it was amazing. Second season, not so much, but still a good time. So there we go. But anyway, yes, spoiler-ish part. Of course, with Light Yagami, killing people with the notebook, eventually people start to catch on, the police and top investigators, and so there becomes this manhunt, you know, to find the killer that they called Kira, because it's K-I-R-A. In Japanese, that's kind of how you say killer, you know, because L's and R's, right? And so just watching him figure out these plans, you know, these ways around everyone who's trying to investigate him, it was awesome, I thought. I really liked some of the stuff he came up with, and, you know, the pressure was on. Some episodes, you know, my heart would race to be like, oh no, but he's gonna get caught and stuff, and yeah. All that. Now this next bit is going to contain spoilers. I know I said the last bit was spoiler-ish, but only spoiler-ish, and this one actually contains spoilers. I won't talk just yet about how the anime ended or anything. I won't talk quite about the end, but certainly a good deal through season 2. So near the end, so I won't spoil the ending yet, but I'm getting there. So if you don't want any more spoiled than what has already been said, you should probably click off this video now. If not, feel free to keep watching. So, season 2, more characters were introduced. I'm going to say first off, again, I warned you about spoilers, and these are plot-changing spoilers. Again, if you don't want to hear them, click off now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1! Okay, I'm going to talk about them then. L is the main antagonist of this, being that he's trying to catch, you know, Light, as he's, you know, playing Kira, playing God, killing people. And it was so awesome. I loved the way that they interacted and everything. It was really cool to see those genius minds at work, you know, combating each other. And then eventually Light manages to kill L. And that kind of, I'm not gonna say it ruined it for me, because like I said, I still enjoyed the rest of the series, but L was just such a key part in it that it was sad when he died. I was rooting for Kira, I was rooting for Light, and so I'm like, yeah, you killed him, good job, you know, that's what you were trying to do. Now you're one step closer to your goal of, creating the perfect world and reigning over it as God. But I liked L as a character, even though he was, again, the antagonist and going against the guy I was rooting for. He was still a fun character. I liked seeing him be brilliant, too. And then the characters that replaced him, there were 2 characters that replaced L, and I did not like them as much. They were apparently from the same sort of prodigy school or orphan, whatever, I don't know. I forget their backstories, but they didn't appeal to me nearly as much. They just seemed like little copycats of L that weren't quite as fun, weren't quite as charming, weren't quite as brilliant, and I didn't like it nearly as much. That's Mello and Nier. Which again, you've already been warned about spoilers, so I'm just going to be talking kind of freely at this point. And I just didn't like them all that much. Basically, once L died, I mean before then in my opinion, but especially then, the anime did start to go downhill for me. It started to be like, well, we're just going to keep throwing stuff at you because we could. And, you know, we had these two in reserve. They're basically like, well, once he's gone, don't worry, we have replacements. And that wasn't as fun for me. And actually, at this point, because I don't have a ton of specifics right there, it's mostly just like, yeah, I didn't really like them. Like, Mello was just kind of annoying, trying to be all tough and smart, and chewing on chocolate, I guess, was his thing. Like, his thing was he'd snap a chocolate bar. Because, you know, every genius has to have their kind of weird thing to let you know that they're weird and super smart, I guess. And his was he had a new chocolate bar like every scene or something like that. It was odd. It made me jealous because I like chocolate. And then Nier was kind of just like a little kid, and he played with toys, and that's how he figured things out, kind of thing. Not that he was like acting super childish or whatnot, but again, it was just, yeah, they're like L, but they're different and they're younger and not as great. I guess they were actually training to be L's replacement. So, I mean, they were there. They had a reason to be there in the story. I just didn't like it so much. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have to like everything in every story, but in the video where I'm going to give my opinions, you know, those were my opinions. I didn't like it so much. But yeah, as I was saying, at this point, I think I actually do have to cover the actual end of the anime. Because I will say that it wasn't, I'd heard it was bad. That's the reason that one of the reasons that I stopped watching Death Note was because I heard that the ending was stupid or whatever. I didn't think that it was as bad as people made it seem. Like, I was still satisfied with it, but it wasn't perfect to me. And I don't know how I would make it perfect, but I think I have pinpointed what exactly I didn't really like about the ending. So I'm going to talk about that here. Again, that completely spoils the ending of this anime. If you do not want the ending spoiled, this is as far as you should go in this video. So thank you for watching if you're going to leave, and goodbye. And if you're still here, welcome. Let's talk about the very end of Death Note. So, what I did not like about it was that, obviously, if you've seen it, if you haven't, then not so obviously, Light was not successful. In the end, they caught him. The investigators, they caught him. And it was, like, and I was kind of fine with it, because even though I was rooting for Light, I was like, well, yeah, but it makes sense, you know, you're either caught or you're not. And again, he was working against other really smart people who had a lot of resources at their disposal, so it made sense to me that Kira was eventually caught with all that had been stacked against him. What I didn't like was that the reason he was caught was not entirely his fault. It was all based upon chance and the stupidity of other people. Because before the very end, so like midway I think through season 2, Light ends up getting 2 more followers. One, a girl that he knew from college, college or high school, one of those, Takada, or Takada? I'm gonna say Takada. I forget her other name. And Mikami. And Takada is this like news person. I think she has her own talk show or something like that, but she supports Light, or supports Kira and what Kira is doing. And so then when Light finds out about that, he reaches out to her and is like, hey, I'm Kira, you know, cool, and everything like that. And Mikami, meanwhile, is just another dude, but he has his own backstory where it's like, yeah, I saw people be pushed around and the good guys never won, kind of thing. And so he worships Kira as a god, and so Light was giving messages to Takada, whatever, to give messages to Mikami, who had the Death Note at the time, because Light was all fancy and switched it around and everything. I know, I'm telling you guys all this, but you need to know it. Like, if you've seen the anime, then you should know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, but you're still here because you're curious, then you need this information in order to understand anything, so I'm sorry. And I'm kind of rambling too, because it's off the top of my head. But anyway, point is, they were kind of essential. At one point, Mello, I don't think he told anyone. If he did, either way, Mello kidnaps Takada. And because they know, or they figure, that Takada is working for Kira. So, he drives her out. She kills him with the slip of Death Note paper that she kept in her bra, I think. And so Mello dies. Bleh, there he goes. There goes one of the smart people who's training to replace L. But then, Light decides to kill Takada. Or Takada. I don't care. I'm gonna switch how I say it every time. So Light kills her. Just, you know, writes her name down and has her commit suicide. The issue, though, that you find out at the very end was exactly the slip up that the good guys, the investigators, needed in order to catch Kira, because Kira was watching Mikami this entire time and was having him psych the investigators out and whatnot, and the investigators were really watching Mikami, and they were gonna switch out death notes, the notebooks. And Light was planning for that, and it all went according to plan, aside from that little bit with Takada. The luck thing is that, and the stupidity part, the luck and the stupidity hand in hand at this part. Mikami decides, oh no, Takada, whatever her name is, was taken away. God, Kira, must not be able to do anything right now. I'll take matters into my own hands. And so he kills, Takada, writes her name in the notebook, like just a couple seconds or something before or after Light does. Either way, they don't realize that the other person was involved in the killing of her, but this is exactly what the investigators need to prove that... I forget exactly what. The point is, Mikami was the one who gave Light away in the end. Mikami was the one who made Light lose. It wasn't anything that Light did. You could count it as an oversight because Light did not take into account that other people could act of their own will, but that's the part that bothered me, was that, I'm fine with Light losing, but I would like him to lose because he slipped up, that it was his fault, even if it was a minor thing, and I didn't really count this as a slip up. Again, you could say that it was due to his oversight, but I don't really think so. I think it was Mikami's fault, and it kind of sucks that, Light, after all the work he put into, it just all fell apart because of that one little thing that he didn't even have any way of knowing about it until the investigators told him, so that's what I didn't like so much. And that's pretty much it. Oh, aside from the fact that I also didn't like how when they first accused... Okay, well, here's the thing. When they're at the meeting at the end, Light, he counts it down after Mikami writes the names down, and then he says, I won. And I'm like, Light, you idiot. You never say that, even if you do think they're about to all die. That's just cocky right there. And it was. And then the thing is, they don't die because the death notes were switched out. And then the guys are like, dude, we just heard you say I won. You're clearly Kira. And so he starts freaking out. He's like, no, I'm not Kira. This is all a setup. And then they're like, no, dude, you're really Kira. So he's like, ha ha, you're right. I am Kira. You can't stop me. And it was just... stupid. It was stupid. I can understand it in the sense that Light was freaking out. Everything again fell apart because of one mistake that wasn't even his fault. He was freaking out. I can understand that. I'm not saying it was necessarily out of character. I was just saying that, dang it, Light, that made me respect, man. I respected you, and I still do respect him. Definitely, he's a genius. But it was just one of those moments where you didn't want to see, a character that you liked behave like that because it just wasn't like them, and it made me kind of sad. I was fine with the way he actually died, though. He was shot a few times by the investigators because they were angry, and they're like, oh, we've been working with you for years now, and whatnot. And Light ran out of the warehouse and ended up dying in another warehouse because, Ryuk, the shinigami who was with him, watching over him this entire time, wrote his name down, as he said he would at the beginning. So that was a nice bit. I thought that was a nice wrap-up. Something that was just a little bit stupid, I thought. When he ran out of the warehouse, Nier was like, yeah, don't follow him. He probably doesn't have any more scraps of Death Note hidden anywhere, so he won't kill anyone, and he'll just die, due to blood loss and whatnot. And I think at least one of the investigators went to follow him. But, who's Nier to say, oh, it's fine, just let the mass murderer go. He probably doesn't have any more weapons hidden somewhere he could grab. Why would you assume that? Don't assume that. In his last breath, if he could kill one more person, that's one more person that you could have saved. But no, you just had to say, nah, leave him. Let the blood take care of this. Let fate decide. That was stupid of you, Nier. That was stupid. So yeah, I'm sorry that a lot of that was just rambling exposition, but that's how it happened, and obviously enough. I don't really script these. I just kind of talk as they come to mind. So, that's what I thought of Death Note. I thought it was a really good series, especially, oh my gosh, season 1, the first season, especially up to episode 17, was really, really good. I stopped watching it the first time because it couldn't get better than this, is what I told myself, and I agree with myself still. I'm rephrasing at this point. I still think, I'm glad that I finished the series. The ending wasn't entirely satisfying for me because of, how it happened, but I was fine with it. It didn't ruin the anime for me. I am glad that I watched it all the way through to the end. I would recommend this to other people, as I am doing now. If this sort of thing interests you, that's awesome. You should watch it. Even though you know the ending, you still can get the excitement of watching how it all happens. Or even if I told you how some of the things happened, you still get the excitement of seeing it happen for yourself. So, that's all I really have to say. thank you guys for watching, and we're gonna call it here. So with all that, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, of course, feel free to like, comment, and if you're new, even subscribe. It means a lot. It really helps me out, and I would love to have you guys. So, tune in next time for my next video. Until then, take care. Cue outro, go!